Hey everyone, Jerry here. We are going to go to my table and I'm just going to do a video and show you video down and show you this piece that I showed you at the end of my Burnout video. And I think I'm gonna, just because I'm goofy like that, I think I'm gonna call it the Burnout series. And the reason for that is because I made a bunch of things when I was experiencing the burnout, and I have to be honest, it was very cathartic to do that, and I would recommend it to anyone who is feeling burnout to just do something meditative. And I felt the stitching was just so calming and peaceful, and of course, you know, the colors that I chose are very calming as well. So just going to flip the camera around and I'm going to show you what I did, and I'm going to explain to you how I did it. And do stay to the very end of the video if you can, because I'm talking about a little YouTube live thing that I want to do, and I need your help. And maybe work on something like this or something else. Anyway, stay to the end of the video and see what I had to say if you can. And please don't forget to subscribe if you've not already subscribed to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And hit the like button and share the video and whatever else you can do to support my channel. I really appreciate it. Let's get started. And in today's video, I was going to share with you a piece that I showed in my Burnout video at the end. I was sharing and showing that I was busy making this while I was taking a break. Well, this is only one of the few things that I made. I made a couple of other things because for me, creativity brings peace and contentment. So I was able to continue creating, and I wanted to share it with you, which I told you that I would do. And I also wanted to tell you how I made it. So in the video, I had it on a board and it was a square, but the square doesn't quite fit under the camera, so I spread it out and made it long. So I had it, it was 6 across by 6 down, which gave me a 12-inch square. Each one of these pieces is a 2-inch wool square. And so let's start with that. I have a lot of wool. I love wool. I love stitching on wool. And I have been dyeing wool. I did some hand dyeing, and if you're interested in, it's called acid dyeing for wool. I did make a video recently about how to do that, and it is so simple. So you can get your wool from recycling it. You can go to the thrift store and buy old blazers, pants, like men's pants, usually even women's pants sometimes are made out of wool, and make sure it's 100% wool. And if it feels flimsy, pass it by, because some wool is thinner than others. That was a sidebar. So I use a lot of recycled wool. I also use sweaters, wool sweaters. I cut those up. I don't have any sweaters in this piece, however. I have another piece that I started also recently that I cut up wool sweaters, and I'll show that to you another day. Anyway, I hand dyed some of this wool, and I also bought it from the thrift store, that kind of thing. So some of this has never been hand dyed, like this one, and it's just straight from the thrift store. This one is from the thrift store. But I also have this really amazing wool store near my house in Pennsylvania. It's like 10 minutes. I have never seen a store like it before, and I doubt I'll ever see one again. It's just wool. She sells wool, wool supplies, things to hook rugs, things to do wool embroidery, different tools and scissors and patterns, and she does classes, and it's a very interesting shop. So I got a little friendly with the owner, and she sold me a bolt of wool, which is what I used to hand dye the wool that I showed you. So that was a whole sidebar, but that's where you can get some wool if you're interested in making something like this. So my plan was is cut up 2-inch squares, and I have a lot of scraps because I use wool for various things. I make a lot of those penny circles. I have a video on my channel somewhere that shows you how to make them, but I also make them and sell them in my Etsy shop. And I have a die cutting machine, and so I also punch out the pieces, right? So I have like 1 million of these pieces in different shapes and sizes. And like I said, I have a bunch of them for sale in my shop along with finished penny circles. But I also have like all these extra pieces that I didn't make into packages for the Etsy store. So I guess you could say I schwicked it. So I've been using some of this, and I love especially these little, they're not quite square. They have like a rounded corner, so I really like them. So if you look closely at this piece, you'll see here they are. And then I used a circle, the circles that I die punched. And I also used, there's another shape in here, I think. No, there's 2 different sizes of this one. So I used a lot of stuff. And then from die cutting with my machine, I have all these little pieces of scraps. So I took the box with all the little tiny scraps, and you can see how small some of these scraps are, really teeny tiny. This is like 1/4 of an inch, and I love them. I save them because wool doesn't usually fray on you, so you can really get down to a little tiny piece and not have a problem. So I cut out 2-inch squares of various colors. I really just wanted something neutral, peaceful, calming. These colors give me a sense of serenity, so that's what I wanted to work with. When I first started doing it, I did cut out a lot of different colors. I have like the hot colors, like, you know, hot pinks and hot yellows and all this stuff, and I did put some of these yellows in here because, you know, I love yellow. Happy Yellow Monday. And it just didn't feel right for me at the time that I was creating it. I needed this quiet. So I just cut out a bunch of pieces, 2 inches. And I mean, some of them are pretty wonky, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I just kind of went with this theme. Let's see. I just lost my train of thought for a second. So after I just cut them out, I was going to tell you that there's more than one in some cases. There's several of the same color. I didn't even worry about it. I just cut them out and laid them down. And then I started to cut apart my scraps. And here's my scrap box. Now you can see how I punched out things? And so I keep these little pieces. I'll never use them all in my lifetime. I have several bags of these little things upstairs in the loft. So anyway, I just would cut out these little pieces, like little strips. And as I said already, wool doesn't really come apart like cotton does. And so you can just put that down, and I couched it. So you can see, I have it all laid out. You can see what I did. And I used a number 5 pearl cotton. I decided not to use embroidery floss. I wanted to use some kind of thread that would actually be part of the design element. And so you can see the thread. So this one doesn't have anything on it but the thread, but you can see how thick the thread is and how your eye just goes right to it. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be able to see the stitching on here. So pearl cotton is unlike embroidery floss because it's actually 2 strands twisted together, but you don't separate them. So, and I just experimented with some stitches. So this is the chain stitch, and then I have this one here. I don't know what that's called. Yeah, I'm a little brain dead at the moment. So as I come back to life, Maybe I'll never find my words again, but I know you don't care. So you see, I just have some stitches, but I really basically mostly kept to simple, just a simple straight stitch. I think I did a buttonhole stitch on one of these. Yeah, here, this one. But I really just wanted to keep it simple so that my mind could just relax into it and I could just rest. Now, you might be noticing, so I did couch, and this is yarn, and so I have a bunch of yarn in my thread box that is suitable for couching, and then this is just back stitch. I think this one's really plain, but you know, it's okay. The night that I did it, that's what, you know, came out of me. And as I picked up a square, I would just do whatever I thought should be done and just had fun with it. Now, you might be noticing this one, and this one, or maybe you didn't, but now I'm going to show you. See, it's got this thing on there. So I went to the library recently in a different part of the beach of Cape May, and I'll just put these together. I had an appointment down in Cape May Courthouse, and they have a big library there, and I thought, you know, I'm going to go in, I'm going to see if I take out books here, can I bring them back to my library that's right near where I'm in the campground? And they said, yeah, you could. So I went up and I looked through all their sewing books and stitching books and craft books. And if you don't do that and you like books, I would highly recommend that you go to a library that you're not familiar with. Get one of those little stools that you step on to get the books and sit down on it and just pick through the shelf, because I was there for an hour and a half and I had the best time and found some books that I had never seen before with techniques that I had never heard of before, and it was exhilarating. Yeah, you know, if you're not a crafter, you wouldn't get that word, but you are all crafters. So this is a technique that I picked up in one of the books, and I'm going to share that with you in another separate video because it's a little more time consuming than just, you know, 2 minutes. So I am going to make this bigger. I'm not sure how big, but I'd like to hang it on the wall. So you're probably wondering how I'm going to put this together. So my thought is, and I'll just pick up two so that you can see. My thought is to just put them face to face and do a little whip stitch, a loose whip stitch. So if you watched my Tisha Moore videos, which I hope you did, and if you didn't, I'll leave a link for you to go check them out. My Tisha Moore inspired videos, and I made all these patches, and this is how I put the patches together. I held them together like this, and I did a whip stitch, and then when you open them, they just lay side by side, and all you see is the stitches. So when I was creating these little squares, I tried to leave at least a little bit around the outside edge, and you can see there, I'm not perfect with it. Seriously, this was about relaxing, so it's not perfect. Now, this was the very first one I did, and I went all the way to the edge, and I said, Jerry, you shouldn't have done that, but you see I didn't stitch this down, so I can tuck that up like that, and I can still connect these two. So I want it to lay flat. I don't want a seam allowance. Wool is way too thick to have a seam allowance. And then once I put them all together, then I'll back it with some wool. And I don't know what I'll do around the edge. One thing at a time. So I am going to make it bigger, so I'm going to start cutting out more squares. So I would advise you, if you're interested in doing any of this and you have some wool scraps, and they could be like just 2 colors, whatever, if that's all you have. It could just be 1 color if that's all you have. And you can embellish them however you want. It could just be purely stitching. So it could be this. So really all you would need was some wool, right? And you could do this with cotton. You could figure it out how to just do it with cotton too if you wanted to. It's just the idea that I wanted to share with you. So what I'm going to do now, since these are all done and I really wanted it bigger after I saw this, I'm just going to cut out some more 2-inch squares. I I like to work assembly lines. So I'll cut out a whole bunch of these, and then I'll just start cutting up the snips of scraps and just start laying things out. That's what I did with this. And then I set it on that board that I had it on. And at night, I just, I keep the board next to me. I pick one up, whatever one calls to me, and I just stitch it. I don't really give it a whole lot of thought. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this and hearing how I created this. And another sidebar, I got a webcam for my birthday. I have not even taken it out of the box yet, but what my intention was when I got that webcam was to kind of pop on YouTube once in a while, for two reasons. Just as a way to connect with you if I am not up to making a video or something, or if, say, I'm just missing you and I want to see some of you, I might just pop on there and work on something. And this would be the perfect thing to work on, because this is not like tutorial worthy. Okay, I just explained to you how I did it, and I'm sure you understood that and could go off and make your own, probably even better than this. So I thought it would be super good fun to do that sometime. So do click the bell on my channel so that if I do go live, it'll be more than just me in the room. And I am looking for some people that like to participate in lives to be a moderator when I do the live, because as the YouTuber making the live, you need, it's been years since I did lives, I used to do them all the time, but you need people in your group, in the chat area, to monitor the room and make sure that the bots don't come in and they see the questions, etc. when people ask questions, because sometimes, if the person who's making the video is working, they put their head down, they miss the questions. So if anyone's interested in helping me be a moderator, I would be tickled to death. And it's not something that I'm going to be doing a lot, but if I got a handful of people that were interested, I could just kind of put you in as a moderator, and hopefully at least one of you would show up for my live. So, all right, I'm going to hang up now. I went on for 16 minutes with the yaya. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And just remember, keep moving. Just play no rules. And remember to find something to be grateful for. I am always grateful for you. And I am so grateful that I was able to take a little step back and just take a little rest. It was a busy summer. It was a good summer, but it was a busy summer. And I'm very grateful that I was able to do that. And your comments and your prayers and your thoughts and your emails and everything else to tell me that you're still going to be there when I come back, and you don't care how many videos I put out a week or a month or whatever, that you're always going to be there and watch. And I can't tell you how much that means to me. So I'm going to say bye for now, and I will see you again soon. Bye.